Indigo is the one name which is most trending on social media, or even the common man is also talking about the Indigo. What you will say about this kind of all this thing?
Well, I think it's a very unfortunate situation, a very unprecedented situation in the aviation industry. Last 3 days, passengers have been suffering non-stop. And, we are in the peak tourist season, we are in the peak marriage season, we are in the peak business season, and also the weather vagaries are also putting additional demand on the flight and issue ruling. So this is a very unfortunate situation, and Indigo's explanation is that because the government enforced a new flight and duty time limitation policy, so this has suddenly caused the problem there. So as far as I am concerned, this is a management failure, and management should have taken proactive steps, because this policy didn't come about in 24 hours. You see, firstly it was deliberate for years. Then a year ago the policy was finalized. A soft launch was made on 1st July 2025, and finally the full rollout was done on 1st November 2025. Apparently the other operators like Air India, SpiceJet, etc., they have prepared themselves for this situation. They have planned for it, and we don't see those kind of problems with any other operator. They also command 40% market share. Now coming to the Indigo management, they are not a startup anymore. They have been operating for the last 20 years. And in this period, you get sufficient experience to know what kind of thing. And this is a major policy decision which was implemented. So the management should have known that this kind of shortage will take place. And but one of the things which perplexes me is the timing. The policy started on 1st November 2025, and suddenly we are facing this kind of sudden rampage on 3rd December 2025 after 1 month. So I have a feeling that somewhere the management suddenly got into a mismanagement situation, and a lot of people are saying it is deliberate, basically to push the government to revert to the old policy, because the new policy has certain cost implications besides major induction. So I think now they have gone to the government, asked for, while they have admitted that this is their lapse, they've asked for the concession for implementation of the policy, and the 3 months relief has been granted to them as the latest news. But I don't think that in 3 months they can actually resolve this issue, because inducting 200 pilots as captain and 200 pilots as co-pilot is going to take time. You have to see that Indigo has a fleet of nearly 500 aircrafts, and 10% fleet, if you look at it, is almost 50 aircrafts. And if you really look at 50 aircraft, it's the size of full-scale large airline, not a medium-scale size airline. So this is a gap which will take time. In the meanwhile, either Indigo has to reduce operations or go for a crash induction program. But even with that, even if you are able to get trained, qualified manpower, you need almost a year and a half to induct them and train them in your fleet. It is not you just sit from one car to another. Even if you are qualified on the same aircraft, you take time to familiarize, get regulatory approvals and other things. So I think it's going to take time.
Must not be any airline, Indian airline, who cancelled 400 flights in just a single day.
In fact, that is because they have the largest fleet also. But then, one of the fallout for Indigo is that until few days ago, Indigo has always prided itself on its punctuality and a very sterling reputation as being a very efficient and competent airline. In fact, today they are market leader because of their fleet size. Till yesterday they were market leader because of their reputation. I personally believe that the reputation has definitely taken a nosedive. and because of this loss in reputation, Indigo will face serious passenger distrust now, and it will take time for them to restore their trust. Either they should immediately take proactive measures to see that people get the same treatment. But if they continue to treat passengers so casually and in a cavalier manner the way they have done it in the last few days, I think Indigo's reputation will start becoming the cause of their downfall.
Today, Mr. Rammohan Naidu has conducted the meeting with the Indigo Authority. So how do you look into that? How ministry should work on this kind of crisis?
You see, to begin with, I don't think ministry can be absolved of their own responsibility either. They receive regular schedule filing of all the operators, winter schedule, summer schedule, spring schedule. Now, DGCA should have checked whether the schedule which Indigo was submitting, they had enough resources in terms of manpower and machine. And if there was a gap, they should have pointed it out or curtailed the numbers. Now, the government is almost facing a fait accompli that they are forced to give extension on the old policy, which they have done. The government has to also demonstrate somewhere that they are not taking this failure lightly. At the least they can do is put some kind of a freeze on further expansion for Indigo, that till you streamline your current fleet, till you streamline the current manpower, you will not be allowed to go to new destinations or will be provided new slots, etc. Unless you bring some kind of disciplining measures, the industry will continue to behave in their own fashion. You know, this is a laissez-faire free economy, so you want to, and knowing that they are the market leader, they don't care anymore. You know, when the other competitors are too small to make any significant impact to their status. So I think the government has to take a very serious view. The second thing is that somewhere with this experience, the way anytime there is a crisis happening, the fares are shooting up in exponential proportion. A 10,000 rupees fare becomes 100,000 rupees or 60,000 rupees or 150,000. No, I think there should be some kind of upper cap because, you know, this is exploitation of people. Even in a competitive environment, you cannot allow a kind of a public loot for the helpless citizen. I think this is one area the government has to put their foot down.
Same kind of statement that we apologize, we sorry, we are providing refreshments and all, but they are not coming up with very strong anything, any strong statement or any strong statement.
I really don't know what they are claiming and what is happening on the ground. I was there at the airport yesterday. Incidentally, my flight also got cancelled when I was trying to board the flight. Firstly, there is no information system either by Indigo or airport authority where you are clearly told that so and so flights are cancelled. People have to stand in long queue for 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes because there is so much of pressure of passengers there. Only when they go to the check-in stage at the counter, they are able to find out whether their flight is operating or not. The second thing is that in most of the cases, when they are told at the last minute that your flight is cancelled, then they are told to go and get the ticket cancelled, which is again a very long queue. Only one person is standing. Half the counters are unmanned. There is no usher or marshal to guide people. There is no effort on the part of airlines to make any alternate transportation arrangement. You know, suppose you're cancelling a Delhi-Jaipur flight. In our earlier times, we used to provide the option that if you want to travel by taxi, we can provide you a cab, and people used to, those who wanted to go by cab, they used to take that facility. You see, you cannot strictly go by the book when you are responsible for creating such a mess yourself. So somewhere the passenger handling is has been so bad, and no senior officer is seen there. In fact, in our times, whenever there was a crisis because of weather, most of the time it used to be because of weather, we used to make sure that senior most officer is there to attend to the problems of passengers. And today those helpless counter staff and even the counter staff don't belong to airlines anymore. They are the handling agencies, so they have no authority also to do anything. So there is virtually nobody to attend to passenger grievances at the airport or their facilitation. So what kind of facilitation are they talking about? Or what refreshment are they providing?
Priyanka Chaturvedi also wrote a letter. Today Rahul Gandhi also tweeted about it. So how do you look into that? How position or system should have?
Well, I think, this is a natural reaction, when it is happening, particularly if this is the problem of air passengers, everybody becomes very passionate and sensitive about it, not for the railway passengers in the same proportion. But anyway, even suffering is suffering even for the air passenger. So Parliament questions will be raised, and but then again the same thing. The problem is that in our current scenario, there is no system of accountability, neither in the government officials nor at the operators level. Unless you enforce some kind of accountability, things are not going to improve. You can only raise voices, and I don't think mere voices raising and not acting on those voices is also emboldening the operators to continue, because they feel they will get away with it, So why care for doing something right?
Something is going on in our India. First of all, Air India. Then after this last week Airbus issue. So how we should avoid this kind of thing? Who should take initiative? Ministry or airlines or what?
Look, you see, to be fair, this industry operates in a very uncertain environment. You are dealing with weather, you are dealing with machines, you are dealing with human, you are dealing with economics. So it's a very sensitive industry. So, and many times there are man-made issues, there are many times God-made issues, like weather, etc. So, you cannot 100% find a zero-error operation ever. You can only hope that it remains a smooth operation. What is important is the empathy, that you are able to attend to people's grievances, people's comfort. And if there is a failure, like in earlier times, if suppose X Airlines is not able to operate on a sector, they would go to Y Airlines and make the interline booking. Today that is not the case. You cancel the ticket and pay through your nose. If there is a cancer patient, in fact there was a case where a groom was traveling and he had to shell out a huge amount of money just to travel, because the marriage cannot solemnize without the groom. So there cannot be zero error situation. But what is important is responsiveness to the crisis. What is lacking is the responsiveness to the crisis. And for that, an efficient administration is a prerequisite.